Good morning, Professor Pattanayak. Just testing the mic. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
we can hear you very clearly.
Esteemed President of ASBM University and Chairman of the Symposium, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, respected guests, delegates, invited guests, members of faculty and staff, coordinators of the symposium, and my student colleagues. A very good morning and a warm welcome to all of you to the inaugural ceremony of the Virtual National Management Symposium HR with the theme Leaders Toolkit, Integrity, Empathy, and Humility. I now request the coordinator, Dr. Smarki Pattanayak, to introduce the eminent guests for the day. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Shreyasi. A very good morning to one and all. I feel very privileged and honored to be introducing the esteemed guests for today's inaugural session of the Virtual Management Symposium of HR. First, we have with us Mr. T. Sudhakar Pai. He is a well-known corporate leader. He is a technocrat turned management thought leader. He is presently the chairman and MD of the Manipal Group. He belongs to the third generation of this group known as Accomplished Bankers. He is an alumnus of IIM Bangalore and Manipal Institute of Technology. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have with us Mr. Biswajeet Pattanayak, who has done his MA in Political Science from Utkal University in 1974. Then he joined the Indian Administrative Service in 1976 and retired as Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha in 2013. During his service, he held important positions such as Secretary Agriculture, Secretary Cooperation, Secretary Forest and Environment, etc. He was the Secretary to the Chief Minister of Odisha from 2004 to 2010 and Chief Secretary from 2010 to 2013. After the retirement, he was Chairman, Staff Selection Commission from 2013 to 2014 and member Odisha Human Rights Commission from 2014 to 2015. Thereafter, he was President Vedanta University Project from 2015 to 2019. We welcome you, sir. Next, we have with us Mr. Sunand Sharma. He is a business leader with 40 plus years of experience. During his career, he has demonstrated qualities of leadership and strategic thinking, having led companies to great success and expansion, especially in the highly regulated economies of India and South Asia. Most recently, in the period from 2006 to 2014, he was country president of Armstrong India and South Asia and chairman of the board of Armstrong India Limited. He served as president of the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry for 2 terms till 2015 and continues to be its honorary president. He chaired and served on various committees of the Confederation of Indian Industry and Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry and on the CII National Council and FICCI National Executive Committee during his tenure with Armstrong. We welcome you, sir. We also have with us Dr. Vipin Gupta. Dr. Vipin Gupta is a professor of sensible management and appropriate science and co-director of the Center for Global Management at the Jack H. Brown College of Business and Public Administration, California State University, San Bernardino. Dr. Vipin Gupta has a Ph.D. in Management Science and Applied Economics from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. He has been a gold medalist for outstanding academic performance in a postgraduate MBA program at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, a top rank holder in BCom Honours program at Sri Ram College of Commerce, University of Delhi, India, and an All India rank holder at the graduate program of the Indian Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India. We welcome you, sir. We also have with us our president, Professor Biswajeet Pattanayak. He is the founder of our university. He is an eminent psychologist and a distinguished academician with masters in psychology, Ph.D. and DLit in organizational behavior and DSc in management science. He has been a professor of IIM Indore and IIM Lucknow with 91 research publications in national and international referred journals and 25 books to his credit. Professor Pattanayak is regarded as an authority in human resource management. We welcome you, sir. We also have with us Professor Kalyan Shankar Ray, who started his professional career by teaching economics. He then joined banking and has 31 years of rich experience in bank operations and management in Bank of India. He also served as director on the boards of 2 regional rural banks. He was associated with National Institute of Bank Management in preparing the guidelines for service area approach of Reserve Bank of India. He has several papers to his credit along with 9 books. We also welcome you, sir. Over to you, Shreyasi.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kalyan Shankar Ray, to deliver his welcome address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Shreyasi. Mr. President, esteemed speakers of the day, delegates, my faculty colleagues, students, and coordinators of this symposium, Smaraki and Bhaktabandhu. Leadership we know is action, not position. A leader becomes great, not because she or he has power, but because she or he has the ability to empower others. In the words of former US President Ronald Reagan, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. And the best example is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, our very own Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest leaders of all times that the world has seen. We say the leader changes the world. In reality, she or he makes others do that. Be it the freedom struggle or a social revolution, the corporate world or the government administration, it is the leader who makes the greatest impact and plays the greatest role. A commander on the battlefield makes his soldiers embrace the supreme sacrifice in the service of the nation. How does he do it? How does a leader motivate others to do great things? That is what we want to learn today in this symposium, Leaders Toolkit, Integrity, Empathy, and Humility. We have in the inaugural session 5 accomplished leaders who have excelled in their own domain. The corporate world is represented by Sri T. Sudhakar Pai, Chairman and Managing Director of the Manipal Group, and Sri Sunal Sharma, former President of Alstom India and South Asia. Both are strategic business thought leaders. I say with pride that the ASBM Award of Excellence was conferred on Sri Pai in 2016, and Sri Sharma was the Chairman of the Board of Governors of Asian School of Business Management. We have with us Sri Biswajeet Pattanayak, a respected career bureaucrat in the Indian Administrative Service and former Chief Secretary of Odisha. He is known for displaying his leadership mettle in trying circumstances and ushering in many changes for development of the lot of the people of Odisha. Professor Vipin Gupta, our keynote speaker today, is an author and researcher in different facets of leadership. He has occupied leadership positions in academics in various positions. Our President, Professor Biswajeet Pattanayak, is an academician, an entrepreneurial leader, and a researcher of repute. His book, Creating Performing Organizations, published jointly with Professor Vipin Gupta, our keynote speaker, and Professor Falguni Ranjana, our Pro Vice Chancellor, inquires into leadership tenets in Indian management and has been a bestseller on Amazon. We thus have an array of speakers today with proven leadership acumen to address us this morning. I cordially welcome all the speakers on behalf of ASBM University. We are eager to listen to you about the toolkits that make leaders and about your own toolkits that have stood the test of time. I also welcome the delegates, my faculty colleagues, and my students to this symposium. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request the chairperson of the NMS HR 21, Professor Biswajeet Pattanayak, President ASBM University, to introduce the theme of the symposium. Sir, please.
Hello.
Tracy, are you facing any challenges?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think we are expecting Dr. Biswajeet Pattanayak to say something now at the moment, or what's the next?
I don't know. I'm just joining in for a little while.
Okay.
Mike is facing some, yeah, he's bad. There, I can see him now.
Okay.
I can see him now. With the earlier setup.
Some check on that? Yeah. Tracy, is there a challenge? Tracy, are you there?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm here, sir. Sir.
Excuse me, there are some network problems. Professor Pattanayak is just coming online.
Okay.
He has some network problem here. He's just coming online.
Okay. Marky, do you want to take it up if he has some problem? Any help you want?
He has already come.
Okay.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
audible. I don't know about the video.
Is it my turn now?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Professor Pattanayak, you are audible. Your video is not working, but that's okay, I suppose. You have some challenges with the bandwidth or whatever it is. Yes, now your video is also.
Okay. Is it my turn now? I'm sorry. I lost
Yes,
the track.
Yes, it's your turn now.
Yes.
Hello.
Professor Pattanayak, kindly introduce the theme. It's your turn now.
Okay. I think good morning, everybody, distinguished guest in the inaugural program. And I'm extremely sorry, my apology, because of the technical glitches, I was lost. But anyhow, I think the National Management Symposium on HR in 2020, in 2021. The topic is very pertinent, and all of you know that the topic is Leaders Toolkit, Integrity, Empathy, and Humility. In fact, I was going through one interesting article which has been published in Harvard Business Review, and the title of the article is "Why Be Honest If Honesty Doesn't Pay," and the authors are Bhide and Stevenson. Now, they discussed about the several issues pertaining to the findings of the recent studies have been carried out throughout the globe, that whether the dishonesty and honesty, these are the two extreme ends of a continuum, and how it impacts the ultimate success of the business. And they have given several the supportings of different studies, wherein they found that honesty doesn't pay. But the authors have an opinion that in the long run, it has been observed that honesty always pays. We all are aware from the childhood days, there is a proverb which has been told categorically that honesty is the best policy. And we keep on practicing that. And my question to this particular research work, that why be dishonest if dishonesty doesn't pay? Now, the argument could be that if honesty doesn't pay, does dishonesty pay? In my opinion, if we look at global trust bank issue, and in the recent past Enron, and also the several incidents which have been occurred, including the Chanda Kochar issue, dishonesty also has not paid. So therefore, why do we be dishonest? Now, we always look at the West, and we find that the leadership as a subject of interest by the researcher in management education is about, let us say, 100 years. But I would like to mention here that management has been recognized as a science since 1950s, whereas management theory had already been explored in India 1000 years ago in the Arthashastra. Chanakya, the Vishnugupta known as Kautilya, who has authored 6,000 sutras classified into 15 books, 150 chapters, and 180 topics. He has also given several tips regarding leadership, and he explained that factors that lead to true power and leadership is intellectual power, manpower, financial power, and power of enthusiasm and moral. So Chanakya also has highlighted about morality, about honesty. Now, I feel that we have always having a self-doubting syndrome. We feel that everything is very green in West, not necessarily. Our ancient, the thought process, which are still relevant, and that has been proved by the principles of Chanakya. Leadership is one of the most observed and least understood phenomena on the earth, most complex and multifaceted. The key question always being raised by the researchers, practitioners, what makes an effective leader? That is a fundamental question being raised time and again in last 100 years. I would like to highlight here a couple of work which has been recognized by the practitioners pretty well. In 1990, there was a book written by Stephen Covey. The book title is Principle-Centered Leadership, wherein he has highlighted about how the principles are important in leadership, and the followers normally they follow and they try to find out the principles in leaders. Similarly, there is an interesting book which has come up in 2003 by Bill George. The book titled Authentic Leadership. It has found significant level of acceptance, wherein he has discussed about self-awareness and genuine, mission-driven, lead with their heart, that is called empathy, and focuses on the long term. So the author has highlighted that ultimately the honesty, the genuinity, and empathy, these are the characteristics of the leader which give the results in the long run. And subsequently in 2019, there is another book written by Kevin, and this is New York Times bestseller book, that is Great Leaders Have No Rules. Though the title is a contrarian leadership principles to transform team and business, but I had an opportunity to hear Kevin, and the argument which he has stated, that is quite interesting, and that is something which is very different than the run-of-the-mill thought process. He has highlighted about leadership is a superpower. Successful leaders do not have an open door policy. He feels that open door policy, though it has been talked about a lot, and many leaders in the recent past also, they have exercised the policy of open door, but Kevin is not in favor of open door policy because he feels that if open door policy is being implemented in the organization, then there would be a reverse delegation. The followers and the subordinates, they will bring their problems too often to the leader because the door is open. So in the process, they will not learn how to make decisions. Also, he has given importance that how the power has been shifted to influence. And today, when we say leadership in the context of corporate, in the organizational context, it is basically how do we influence without authority. Influencing people with authority is much easier, but how do we influence people without authority? Now, recently in 2020, there is an article in Forbes magazine. The title of the article is "This is what leadership will be in 2030." They have made a prediction, and it has been written by Benjamin. And they say business will look and operate fundamentally differently in the next 10 years. Friends, I think we all also are witnessing how the change is faster than ever. And I'm sure that the shape and size of the business have undergone sea change even during the COVID and post-pandemic situation. So therefore, we need a new type, a new breed of leaders. Jacob Morgan, he has highlighted what should we be teaching leaders how to prepare for the future. So this is a food for thought that should we continue with the same kind of ingredient and input to be given to the people to become leader, or we need to change the kind of input, the thought process of a leadership. Now, Morgan has an opinion, and that opinion is based on 140 top CEOs from around the world at companies like Audi, MasterCard, Unilever, Oracle, SAP, Best Buy, Verizon, and many more. And he has suggested notable 9, he calls it as notable 9, top 4 mindsets and top 5 skills. So putting together notable 9. Now mindset, which he has referred, the number 1 is global citizen. The leaders have to think globally and embracing diversity, because more and more diversity will come into play. Similarly, the second mindset has to be servant. The mindset of serve means that you practice humility. Leader has to be humble And the third one is the chef. The way the chef put different kind of ingredient to make the food tasty. The leader has to balance two important ingredients, that is humanity and technology, because technology plays very important role. Therefore, it's a very big challenge for the leader how they balance humanity and technology. The next one is explorer. Explorers of old and embrace the unknown. He has also highlighted 5 skills. The first skill, which is very important for a leader for 2030, coach. The leader has to motivate, inspire, and engage their team members. The leader has to be futurist, consider multiple scenarios, and think through new possibilities. The third one is technology teenager. Teenagers are very, very proficient in adopting new technology. Therefore, the leader has to be like a teenager, and he should first adopt new technology in a much faster pace than ever in the past. Similarly, the leader has to be a translator. He has said it's a skill of a leadership, that is listening and communicating to the team members. The last one, which is quite interesting, I think we all talk about Yodha, and Yodha means warrior, and he said that the leader has to be a warrior, develop empathy and self-awareness, which we call it as emotional intelligence. And I know you know that the Goldman has highlighted about it, and a lot of research have been undertaken, and it has been proved that leader has to have emotional intelligence. So these are the the recent studies which have been undertaken, and there is a commonality which we find, that empathy, integrity, and humility are ages old, and these are the very strong ingredient of a true leadership. Now, employing dishonesty as it's convenient may be the tempting path, and maybe even one that some can justify in their own minds as a necessary ill to serve a greater good. But dishonesty rarely stops with one or two untruths and never ends well. So therefore, the deliberation which we would like to make today in this particular national symposium on HR, on a very, very pertinent topic, and we have outstanding practitioners today in the morning session and in the afternoon, the panel discussion to debate on this particular topic. And I'm sure there will be some new ideas will come up, and it will help in adding substantial value to the leadership as a discipline in management education. Thank you very much, and I express my gratitude and thanks to all the dignitaries, those who are participating in this particular event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request Professor Vipin Gupta, Professor and Co-Ordinator, Center for Global Management, California State University, San Bernardino, USA, to deliver the keynote address of NMS HR 2021. Sir, please.
Thank you. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Pattanayak, for that introduction about leadership. And these terms are definitely very, very important: integrity, empathy, and humility. And so I'm going to speak about that. And I have been working on several books. I'm actually publishing 12 books this year, and 2 books were published. One book is published just today, What is Present Reality? And they are about using ancient Indian wisdom to explain really kind of science of everything and beyond. So they integrate a variety of things, including divinity, science, management, and humanities, and a variety of other things. The key aspect, as you know, from our ancient tradition in India, is that everything has a energy value. And therefore, we are going to look at what is the energy value of each of these terms, integrity, empathy, and humility, and what else Mother Nature does as a leader who is able to nurture so many people across so many generations for millions of years. So what is the leadership model of Mother Nature? So that's what is the focus that I'm going to take. Now, what is Mother Nature's paradigm for shaping and leading the present reality? Mother Nature endows us with infrastructural technological input that empowers us to grow into a leader by developing a strategic awareness of both the pros and the cons of present reality. So a leader who has strategic awareness, what are the pros and what are the cons of the present reality. And so Mother Nature gives us all the ingredients that are needed to make sense of that. And then she liberates us, gives us a complete freedom for investing our work energy to complement her work energy and realize our desired universe without our experienced cons of the present reality. When our desired universe vision as a follower turned leader, when we as a follower of Mother Nature turn into a leader, is compatible with Mother Nature's desirable creative energy mission, then we become the technological input par excellence with Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is creative energy. She's serving creative energy. If we are able to serve a creative energy similar to her, then we become a technological input for everybody's leadership par excellence with her. By trading that technological input, by trading that leadership, each person becomes capable of living a person effect, okay, personal force as the instant legacy for the future, because that's what is critical. A leader who can leave an instant legacy for the future. Mother Nature leaves a legacy that lasts until the age of the universe. So not a single human entity has ever given any theory, any idea which will leave your leadership, which will allow your leadership to leave a legacy for eternity, like Mother Nature. So why learn from any Western author when we can learn from Mother Nature, right? So that's really the perspective that I take in these books. So now Mother Nature paradigm for the present reality is 8-dimensional. What are 8 dimensions? The 4 dimensions are 4 dimensional space, height, length, width, and ground zero. So that north, east, west, and south. 3 dimensions of time, past, that shapes the present and the future with its linear effect. Present, that shapes the future with its curvilinear effect, because whatever we do now, that changes the past and creates a new future. So therefore, it's a curve. It curves the perpetuating reality. The future, it's accelerating sorry, due to alpha constant factor and the beta slope factor. Okay, alpha constant factor is that linear effect. Beta slope, the alpha constant factor is this curvilinear effect, and the beta slope factor is this linear effect, which is perpetuating. And that's moving apart from the one-dimensional future reality serviced by the absolute creator Sun, because Sun is an absolute creator that creates a reality. But because of our past and the present, we change the future and we move apart from the reality that was manifest. If there's no sentient entity, if there's no living entity, if there was only Sun as the creator, the future reality would have been very different. The fact that we had ancestors and fact that we are now here, both those facts, the past and the present, changes the future reality of Sun. The 8th D is causation. It's a curving accelerating factor And what is the curbing accelerating factor? That's the universe of sentient entities, the living entities, the conscious entities. The eighth dimension constitutes Mother Nature. It also constitutes the infrastructure that we have, which is called Kundalini. Mother Nature is called Anatanam. Technological input that we have, right? Satarupa. We as a leader for transforming the undesirable present reality into a desirable future reality. So that's the paradigm, that's the yukti, that's the system, that techniques that Mother Nature provides us as a technical input. This is the input that we have, and using this input, we can create whatever reality that we want. Now, present reality is -2. It's negative, double negative. Why is it now double negative? Because first, we perceive the present reality to be partially or wholly undesirable. If present reality was desirable, then there is no need for us to take a leadership role or for us to seek a leader. Okay, so we perceive the present reality to be partially or wholly undesirable. That makes it -1. Then we conceive a need to transform it by changing our behaviors. Thus, we experience our reality to be partially or wholly undesirable as well. Because if we were happy and not making any changes until now, and now we decide that we need to take a leadership role, that means we are saying that our present reality is negative. So not only is the present reality of the universe negative, but our present reality is negative. For changing the universe, we need to change ourselves. That's why present reality is -2. Okay, so that's the energy value of present reality, -2. It's scientifically proven in physics. So this is sort of going at the frontier of physics issues right now. The leader motivates a follower to create an objective universe free of undesirable subjectivity, because that subjectivity is a reason why universe has become undesirable. Because if we like, for instance, summer, and we get winter, and we are very subjective, and we say that, okay, we need to have summer, let's create an environment, let's make some changes so that it always remains summer. And then in the next birth, when our children come in, they realize that now it's too hot, now there's not enough water, we don't have any crops, and therefore they say that, okay, now we need to cool down the environment. So people conceive reality in a partial way, and that makes the reality negative. That creates a impulse that we need to make a change, and therefore it creates an additional impulse in the future generation to undo whatever previous generations have done and to recreate something else. Okay, so that cycle continues. So the leader, okay, the Raja or Kshatriya has an energy value of 0. Because what leader does, he or she takes the -2 present reality, and that in Hindi is called Bada Buddhi Vadartha, and makes that into an objective that's called Vidhana, to be realized, free from the undesirable subjectivity, constituting the positive 2D universe. Universe is called Brahman. So the energy value of Brahman, objective, is 2. The leader wishes to live within and leave for the followers. Okay, so that's why leader is 0, because he or she transforms the present reality into the desirable universe. -2 to 2. So the average of that is 0. And therefore the leader creates that objective environment because leader is 0. A follower becomes a creator factor. How is creator factor? That -2 to 2. Leader has not made that change from -2 to 2. A follower has made that change. So that's the Atman. The Atma, it's also Bhagwan. The energy value of Bhagwan is 4. Okay, a person who has created non-duality, who grants the wish of transforming the creation subjective element into the objective element by servicing a corrective person effect. Okay, that person effect is Atma. Atma is our past. So that's whatever legacy we have left in the past, that's Atma. Okay, so leader-follower exchange is mediated by integrated 8D infrastructure Mother Nature gifts. Okay, so this 2, 4 that interaction is mediated by 8. Okay, so let's move on. Next one. So 6 toolkit ingredients Mother Nature uses as a leader for realizing 6D natural growth. Okay, that's called khara in Hindi. 6, it's the energy value of 6. 1, entropy. What's entropy? That's Ishvara. God is entropy. The energy value is 5. Mother Nature becomes God, the entropy element, also known as the perpetuator factor, the Param Vishnu, perpetuating our 100% freedom within her leadership reign. A God is somebody who says that you have full freedom. I am an entropy element. If God says I'm going to do everything and you have zero freedom, then God has no value for us. Okay, so God has value because God says you have 100% freedom. That's what Mother Nature becomes. Empathy, that's called Tadanubhuti. Its energy value is 1. 1 lifetime of work energy. That's the empathy, where we have intimate consciousness of the undesirable subjectivity in Mother Nature's mission and the objective desire for actualizing our vision. Okay, so it's a 1 lifetime, therefore energy value is 1 for empathy. Objective Vidhana is 2, our work energy plus Mother Nature's work energy that manifests the desired universe, Brahman 2. Integrity, that's Brahma Yajni, its value is 8. It's the integrity of the integrated infrastructure for solving any challenge we have that Mother Nature provides. So that's an 8-dimensional Mother Nature. The creator factor is Atman 4. It's our role as a factor in creating the desired universe by transforming the undesirable present reality into 6-dimensional natural growth that perpetuates eternally. So that 6-dimensional natural growth plus 2-dimensional objective element that we have created, the universe we have created, it's a totality of Mother Nature. So she says that in my totality, 6th dimension is what I'm going to grow, I'm going to let you grow too. Humility, that's the moving apart and descendants of animate Mother Nature into an illusionary shadow. Mother Nature says, I'm illusion. For teaching a lesson, influencing and nurturing the inanimate nature. Who are we? We were an atom. From atom, we became a cell. So atom is inanimate. So we became a cell. So Mother Nature then allowed us to ascend and become an animate cell, a sentient cell, and then fall together to die and become an inanimate element again. Thus making each ascending follower turn creator factor an eternal leader with an invisible everlasting legacy. Summary, as a symbol of her humility as a leader, Mother Nature moves apart and descends herself beyond our vision horizon so that we can freely conceive our leadership mission without any followership consciousness and be the creators of a desired universe and live supernaturally as a leader for eternity without that universe by being naturally immanent within that universe. So that's what we need to learn from Mother Nature to be an effective leader for eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such concise address to all of us. I would now request the guest of honor and eminent speaker, Mr. T. Sudhakar Pai, Chairman and MD, Manipal Group, to address the assemblage. Sir, please.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to ASBM University, the founder and the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Biswajeet Pattanayak, Dr. Kalyan Shankar Ray, and my co-panelist and distinguished guest and the faculty of the university and the students, ladies and gentlemen. When Professor called me up and said that I have to be a part of this, I agreed with him for a very simple reason. I feel that in any organization, it is the people who make the organization or it is the people who break the organization. Leader is a very, very important part of that journey because he leads them where they want to go and where he feels that they all should go together. I had a very interesting journey over the last 4 decades in various institutions that I got involved. And there are a number of experiences that I've gone through. But it is great today how Professor Vipin Gupta has put in a fantastic toolkit, that is required for the leaders in the days to come. And Professor Pattanayak very clearly said, is it only the 3 elements of the toolkits, or do we require more than that? I believe that there are many more tools that are required as we go by, definitely without losing the fundamental things that are as integrity, empathy, and humility are. I believe that the way I was trained in my life, my father told me that you are so-and-so's son, so your integrity, your empathy, and your humility will be marked not only by your working, but that's the reputation on the family, that's the reputation on the parents. So we all should know that we are born without a choice, not knowing where we are born, which religion, which place, which area, but we have a challenge of life. And that my grandfather in his lifetime had proved that life is a journey, that your birth is an accident, but your death is certainty. Between this birth and the death, you have a very, very big opportunity of life to make things different for yourself, definitely, because you will be the benefit of anything goes up. Either you are a leader or a follower, or you are to make sure that the team around you also succeeds, which you have heard by the previous speakers. Rich and poor is only comparative. As we know, till 1947, for more than 200 years, the richest person in the world was an Indian. And today we don't even see his name in the first 1,000. So what happens to him? My grandfathers had told that in this journey of life, you come out with a water tank and you bring input and output of water through a pipe. So as long as the inlet pipe brings more water than the outlet pipe, someday your tank will get filled, either through money or through knowledge or through your efforts. Whereas the outlet pipe takes more and more from the inlet pipe, someday you will become bankrupt. And we have seen that happening in many ways, for many reasons. So I have now come to a figure and understanding of life's mathematics. And very beautifully, the life's mathematics is written now with how to, imbibe and work with the nature. How does the nature take care of it? And if this science is available in the world, I personally believe the science is available only in India, or to some extent maybe China, but unfortunately Chinese have lost their religion. They lost their ability to understand the human nature. They have made every human being as a factory worker. They have destroyed, I think, thousands and maybe tens of thousands of their own temples and their own culture. They said there is only one communism, believes there is only one humanity. Luckily for India, for whatever the reasons we are and wherever we are multilingual, we are multi-religion, but we are all Hindus together. Towards this, as long as we know our needs are met, and where do we draw our line of greed, we will be a successful country, we will be a successful human being, we will be successful organizations. Towards this, everybody has to draw his own line, and not only draw the line, ask somebody to measure that line is right or not, lest the others will think that you are greedy and you think you are only meeting your needs. Having the need and the greed, a level of understanding to the next society, I'm sure India is the biggest opportunity in the world to become the most prosperous country in the next 30 years of time. Luckily for India, we have got the youngest population in the world who is available to build this country for the next few generations and thereon. I personally believe that my life's journey has given me many, many lessons to find out and to imbibe how we should work. I would like to end my thoughts with what I call it, work from mind or work from the heart. I believe in the mind there is a lot of information available. The heart is the one which makes you fall in love with that work. So I simply used to tell my staff, if you want somebody to work, you can make him work only by two methods. The first method, I call it as a method of threat, which in Africa they might have used by beating people and getting works done. But the Western society has found out a new method of fear, that so much of loan is given to every individual, that these loans which are given to you, to pay the loans back, you have to have enough income, otherwise you will be on the roads next day. I used to tell my friends in America that your car is on loan, your house is on loan, your refrigerator is on loan, you got married other day, and for your marriage you took another loan. All the loans are to be deducted from your income of your salary. If your salary is gone, you are literally on the road. Luckily, India has got very good habits of savings. We don't live beyond means. We can do our things in a much simpler way. Having said that, if you can start falling in love with your work, that's the second method of working, you will become a great person, you will become a great leader, and I believe that your success rate will be multiple-fold compared to a method of threat. And I wish how Professor Pattanayak himself has built up this institution out of love and affection to the students who are coming there and trying to imbibe that love and affection toward the next generation. I'm sure it will give an idea to think differently, act differently, and do things differently. I wish all the people best, and again, good luck and a great future for each one of you and for your organizations and for the country as a whole. Thank you very much again once for giving me this opportunity to address and say a few words to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now request the guest of honor and eminent speaker, Mr. Biswajeet Pattanayak, IAS, former Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, to kindly deliver his lecture. Sir, please.
Thank you, Shreyasi. Esteemed President, Mr. Pattanayak, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Well, it has been an excellently organized webinar. We heard a very erudite speech from Professor Gupta, and we have heard words of wisdom from Mr. Pai, who has years and years of experience as a successful leader of business. Well, I can only relate to you my own experience, in the sense that, what I have observed during my career. It is my own observation. It is not from any text or from any journal. So you will not find corroboration. But believe me, this is what I have observed about a particular industry, which I had occasion to observe from very close quarters. And this is how the story goes. It had a very humble beginning, and it had a leader who was a visionary. He led the particular industry from scratch, to a very, very successful industry, which it is today. And the journey has been like this. He built up a small group of followers who implicitly believed in him, who had faith in him, and who saw his talent, who had occasion to see his leadership qualities, and who had the warmth of his personal rapport with them. And they formed a team. And the industry went from one rank to another and another and another, and reached the pinnacle of success. But as the industry grew, it had to recruit many people, many levels of managers. And these people came from different areas with their own experiences, with their own backgrounds. Many of them were extremely well qualified. They were taught and trained in American universities. They were taught and trained in many of our management institutes. They brought their own theories, their own principles. And when this particular industry went public, it had to be listed on the exchange. Then it was asked to follow certain structures, and these structures were put in place. And gradually, the thousands of employees, from a few, maybe 10 or 20, the thousands of employees came in, and they had to be governed by certain, what you call management techniques. Then came the hierarchies. Then how do you control all these thousands of employees? Then came the theories. Then came the toolkits. Then came the different ways of observing their performances. Then came the different parameters for evaluating their performances. Then the KRAs and KPAs and all these areas came in. And the theories, the formulas overtook what the leader had in the beginning. The people never had a chance to see the leader again. Once in a while, he would come and he would deliver a lecture in a town hall meeting. They would probably be bewitched by his brilliance, but they never had the benefit of his personal touch anymore. So what happened in the end was that the industry achieved great heights. It achieved great success in financial terms, but the employees got totally distanced from the leader. And down the line, no leader was born. They were all managers. What they did was they only ticked in the boxes. They gave good performances. They earned good bonuses. They earned good incentives. They gave good profits to the company. But the company lost its character as a family, and the togetherness, the feeling of being a part of a team, that was gradually lost, because people were busy ticking in the boxes to earn their incentives and to earn their promotions. This is the story which I thought I would relate to all of you, since I had very close experience with this particular company and I had observed how it had grown. The point I'm trying to make, ladies and gentlemen, is that, as the previous speakers have said, the job of the leader is to make others work. He need not be the brightest, but he should be able to get the brightest, and he should have the ability to make him work. He'll be able to make him or her work only if he or she feels that it is his or her company. And how does that really happen? There are no formulas for this. I cannot give you any matrix. I cannot give you any particular theorem as to how you make a person feel that the company is his own. It is by, I would say, by his own personal example, by the way he leads people. Once I asked a particular successful man who had a restaurant. In terms of turnover, he may not be a rich man, but I would rate him a very successful businessman because he was a very successful leader in his own business, very well-known restaurateur. So I asked him, what is the biggest challenge that you face in your restaurant industry? And very predictably, he said that how do I retain the best of cooks, the best of chefs? So I asked him, how do you do that? Do you pay them well, or do you withhold their salary so that they do not run away? Or how do you really manage them? He gave me a frank answer. He said, look, I've been running the restaurants for the last 40 years, and I cannot tell you how you will do it. You do it just by your sense, by your personal example, by the way you treat them. You have to treat them differently at different times. There are no formulas for it. Sometimes you may have to be strict with them. Sometimes you have to be very cordial with them. Sometimes you have to pamper them. Sometimes you have to, take them into confidence. And sometimes you have to punish them. There are no rules as to how exactly you will deal with them. So how do you really deal with business? You deal with business by certain principles that you follow, what you call the toolkits in this particular context. But I would say that these are basic principles that you follow. And these principles are that treat your employees, your team as human beings rather than objects or cogs in the machine. That they are asked to perform a certain amount of job, and if they don't do it, you fire them or you reward them. Please do not treat the employees as just in a machine. Please treat them first of all as human beings, that they have their own problems. You have your ERP, you have your SAP, you have your systems in place which do not recognize the personal difficulties of your employees or of your teammates. But let's not forget that these systems that we have are only toolkits, are tools. And at the end of the day, we are dealing with human beings, and they have multifarious problems. The reason why a person comes late to his office or her office, the reason why he is not able to come to his office, etc., etc. There are myriad reasons. Just because today we have this virtual way of dealing with our employees, it doesn't mean that we can treat the employees' time as the company's time. Now I have found that many people are working from home, and somehow probably at the back of the mind of the employers, they feel that just because the employee is staying at home, he or she is at their beck and call, and they can stretch the working hours from morning till late night. That's what I'm observing. This is happening because there is no empathy for the employee. He or she must understand, the manager I mean, that the employees also have their personal life. And as we keep talking about the work-life balance, that applies also in a virtual world. Just because a person is in his house, it doesn't mean that he need not be given his personal time. So what I mean to say is that empathy, integrity, humility, these are personal values. These are values with the help of which you establish yourself. You set an example of your own conduct. If you start treating people as mere subordinates, as our previous speaker said, if you want to beat them, if you want to really hang them like probably the Mughals used to do, then the results will be disastrous. Today we are in a world in which we are gradually allowing technologies to take to take hold of our lives. I think this is time when we have to realize that human beings have created these technologies, not the other way around. So our toolkits, our formulas, our matrices, our theorems, or our policies, all these are meant to handle human beings, and let us treat human beings as human beings. This is the message that I thought I'll convey to all of you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to such a distinguished audience as I find today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are grateful to you for your illuminating words. I would now request the guest of honor and eminent speaker, Mr. Sunand Sharma, former President ASBM India and South Asia and strategic advisor, NIT Warangal, to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Good afternoon to the esteemed guests of honor, Dr. Pattanayak, colleagues at ASBM, the panelists, and all the participants in this morning and afternoon's symposium, of which the theme is integrity, empathy, and humility. Having just heard Professor Gupta, it struck me that great leaders I have followed and known follow this toolkit instinctively. The three nouns, integrity, empathy, and humility, are well chosen, not only for these most extraordinary and trying times, but have universal acceptance and resonance at any time. I can speak from personal experience, and I think I will keep it to that. My greatest good fortune has been to have had senior colleagues and mentors throughout my career, barring a blip here and there, who have been epitomes of these three qualities, and therefore to imbibe them was easy for a person like me. Interestingly, two of the corporations I worked for have been around for over 100 years each, so they must have done something right. So at a comparatively young age, in my 20s, in my career, began exposing me to business leaders who were already well known in the world, allowing me I noticed with the clear hallmark of the first of the qualities, that is integrity. Many of the people on this panel and others would recall that till the 1980s, it was a freewheeling time globally, and it was commonplace to use unfair practices to win business. That being said, it was also the time that these practices started gaining notoriety, with scandals erupting around the world. I learned very quickly that it was a practice that was completely unnecessary and extremely damaging. I also saw that business leaders I dealt with not only believed in this, but supported business dealings with integrity, even when you lost business to a competitor who was using unfair practices. About 40 years later, as time has gone by and we have seen, there has been a global surge in stamping out of such practices. What I can state with deep clarity is this: if the leadership in any entity, corporate or any other, displays qualities of integrity in all its meaning, the employees and the people working there feel motivated and proud to work in such a place where they know the value of integrity. That being said, it is also extremely important, in my opinion, to ensure that this is practiced, whereby the bad eggs are weeded out and made an example. Having been a business leader myself, I have had to perform this weeding out task as well, as not all people are always aligned with good policy and good thought. In the rough and tumble world of business, wherein there are ups and downs, a business leader's mettle is tested most at the time of a downturn. How they behave, how they handle a situation in a downturn demonstrates their empathy, as at no other time. People who work in any organization trust the leadership to do the right thing towards them. It is how the leadership behaves under these circumstances that defines it. Again, from personal experience, I can say that I have seen all kinds of behavior in such circumstances in my lifetime. That being said, I know that the companies that demonstrated great empathy in bad days were the ones that bounced back best and retained their reputations. The opposite was also true. Empathy comes easier to those leaders who have risen from the trenches and have through great exposure in that field, and it is they who possess the best qualities to demonstrate empathy when they have come from the bottom up. Given that a rise in rank brings with it what I call the ornaments of office, we live in a post-colonial society coupled with an unhealthy dose of feudalism. However, my learning was fortunately around people who carried their own bags, so to speak. You just have to look around how people behave in public, and you can identify those who have a false sense of themselves, by the number of people fawning around them, especially at airports. True, strong leaders are comfortable in their own skin and do not need to have the ornaments of office to distinguish them. History is replete with stories of leaders who were adored for their down-to-earth humility. In the military, where it is easy to be overtaken by hubris, we know of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, for example, who was a soldier's soldier and adored by his troops. It is small wonder that he led the war and won it that created Bangladesh as a result. In the business world, the stories of J.R.D. Tata and his humility are well known. These, in my opinion, are the ones to emulate to set the best examples of humility and leadership. In my own case, I had at least 2 tenures in dealing with global corporate chairmen whom I knew personally to be humble, despite their external image. Needless to say, they led excellent corporations to great global success. I will end by saying and reiterating in short, integrity, empathy, and humility are all great qualities to possess and nurture through life, as they will come in handy when you become a leader. I say that from personal experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The inaugural ceremony has now come to an end. I request the coordinator, Dr. Bhakt Bandhu Das, to propose the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor and privilege on my part to propose a vote of thanks on National HR Symposium 2021. We are grateful to our eminent guest, Mr. Sudhakar Pai, Chairman and MD, Manipal Group, for his excellent erudite address. We are thankful to you, sir. We are deeply grateful to our distinguished eminent guest, Mr. Biswajeet Pattanayak, former Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, for his enlightening address. I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to him. Thanks a lot, sir. We are thankful to our eminent speaker, Mr. Sunand Sharma, former President, Alstom India and South Asia, and Strategic Advisor, NIT Warangal. His presence today in this function has immensely enhanced its importance and is a great source of motivation for all of us. Thank you, sir. We are extremely thankful to Professor Bipin Gupta, California State University, USA, for his erudite keynote address. We are thankful to you, sir, for your kind presence. I place my sincere thanks to Dr. Biswajeet Pattanayak, founder and president, ASBM University, and Chairman National HR Symposium 2021 for his able guidance in matters pertaining to the growth and development of the university. I extend my thanks to our revered Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kalyan Shankar Rai, for being a constant source of inspiration for all of us. I would also like to thank our respected Pro Vice Chancellor, ASBM University, Dr. Falguni Niranjana, for our untiring support and guidance. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Smaraki Pattanayak, Coordinator, National Management Symposium HR 2021, and Dr. Manmothnath Samantrai, Registered ASBM University, and Dr. Jyotiranjan Mohanty, Dean School of Business, and other faculty members for their untiring contribution for institutionalizing this program. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all the participants for their active participation in this symposium. I again thank to the electronic media for their kind presence and wider coverage of National HR Symposium 2021. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all the administrative and support staffs for their active participation and support in this symposium. Last but not the least, my special thanks to all my loving students for their effort in making this function. It is because of their sincere and dedicated endeavor, this function is a grand success. Thank you all. Thank you so much. will start our next session. The plenary session will start at 3 p.m. today. So we all request you to join at 3 p.m. today. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you, Mr. Pai. Thank you, Professor Gupta. Thank you, Mr. Pattanayak. And thank you, Samasa. Thank you very much for your kind presence and deliveration.
Thank you, sir.